I've learned in life that it's important to be able to step outside of your comfort zone and be challenged with something you're not familiar or accustomed to. That challenge will allow you to see what you can do. Hi, my name is Addison OW, and this year in ISM I've decided to study marketing. For the first part of this year, I have conducted both primary and secondary research in this field along with completing my original work. The time when I applied to ISM and was ultimately accepted into the program was a critical time in my life, a time where I had to really think and analyze about what I wanted to do with my life. So I started off going into ISM thinking I wanted to study event planning. My cousin was an event planner, and I thought it would be something I would be interested in because I really loved organizing. So I started off with primary research and interviewing professionals that were in the event planning industry, and some of those were Aaron Throneberry, Chris Rogers, and Mark Brown. And all three of those individuals did event sales and event coordination. Through those interviews, I learned a lot, and most of what I learned with those interviews is the event planning industry is very hospitality-oriented, and while I enjoyed and have a lot of respect for the career, I didn't see it fitting with my personal interest and what I was good at. So with those interviews, I kind of saw a little bit of the marketing side of events and decided that was really something that I wanted to look more into. So with a little bit of secondary research, I learned more about marketing and decided that that was something I wanted to further my studies with. So then I started interviewing some marketers. So the first marketer that I interviewed was Pam Astorga, and she did events marketing for a small technology company. And it was really cool to see how the marketing and event planning industry went together and some of the similarities and differences between those. So from that interview, I decided that throughout the rest of my ISM journey, I wanted to study marketing, and so that solidified my topic. And so I did an international marketing interview with Blair Wright. And one of the cool things about that interview was that Blair went to Texas A&M, which is a school that I really want to get into. So being able to learn pathways and steps that I should take to get into the business school there and pursue marketing at that university was really unique. I also learned a lot about how marketing is handled overseas, and she worked at DFW, so how can you get people from China to enter through the DFW airport? The next interview that I had was with Travis Hill, and this interview I got to see a little bit of the creative side of marketing. Mr. Hill worked at iHeartMedia and taught me a lot about branding and how marketing is about telling a story and really connecting with your audience. Mr. Hill didn't start in the marketing industry, didn't get a degree in marketing, but loved music and was passionate about that. So whenever he entered the marketing industry, he was able to learn a lot through firsthand experience and was able to tell me the biggest takeaway as a marketer is to connect with your audience. The next interview I had was with Samantha Colby, and she did small business marketing. One of the things that was really unique about this interview is she worked for a small human resource company, and so she was the only marketer at that company. So she was able to tell me how all the different aspects of marketing come together as one. Whenever you see a big company, you'll have like 7 different marketing teams, and so having one person to do every aspect of marketing and explain how the process works was a really cool takeaway from that interview. And then the last interview I'm going to talk about is my interview with Michelle Weatherall. Miss Weatherall does marketing capabilities at Dr. Pepper Snapple. And when I interviewed with her, I had a lot of questions about what the field was encompassing of and what it takes to be successful in the industry. Miss Weatherall talked a lot about the passion and drive that goes into marketing and the creativity, and she also talked about whether or not I would be interested in the field. Miss Weatherall was ultimately the professional who I asked to be my mentor. So just to summarize kind of my primary research along with some of my secondary, I learned a lot about marketing through my interviews, and also I learned a lot of social skills, how to interact in the corporate world, and how to dress, how to communicate, write emails, thank you cards. And then in terms of content, I learned a lot about marketing and how it's a passion-driven industry that involves a lot of creativity and problem solving. I also learned the work ethic that goes into really any career, not just marketing, but starting out, it takes a lot of work ethic and drive, so making sure you're in a career that you're really passionate about is really pertinent. Another thing is, like I touched on earlier, the importance of telling a story with your marketing campaign. And then through some of my interviews, I was introduced to different aspects of marketing, which I'll go over in a minute, but brand management was really something that appealed to me. So brand management involves ensuring the product or company has a positive connotation with consumers, and so making sure that whenever a customer sees, for instance, McDonald's, that they're thinking positive thoughts rather than McDonald's is negatively affecting our country. So just ensuring the quality of the product and the company with the consumer. Another thing that I did a lot of research on is trends. And so as our society becomes more digitally advanced, the marketing industry is doing so as well. And so keeping up with the trends is extremely important, and just paying attention to the little strategies and advertisement that companies are making has really helped me to understand all the different parts of marketing. So here are some pros and cons. I made a little diagram for that. I kind of touched on it earlier, but it's a lot of creativity, which is originally what drew me to the marketing industry. And it's a very corporate business integrated career, and it's very versatile. Some of the cons are long hours, heavy workload, and it tends to be subjective. So one marketing campaign may appeal to you or your coworkers, but then to the rest of citizens in America, it might be kind of a drawback or not appeal to them. Different parts of marketing, each person I interviewed with had a different opinion on this, but you have advertising, brand management, research analytics, and public relations. Like I said, brand management is the topic I'm most interested in, and some careers that can come out of that are brand manager, product manager, or product development manager. So there's a lot of different aspects that goes into marketing. So on to the next section, I'm going to talk about my original work. And with my original work, I had the opportunity to create an idea or a product in regards to marketing that was solely independent and would help further my research. So going into my original work, I had just kind of gotten a grasp of marketing through my interviews, and starting out with event planning, I didn't have the whole first semester to research just marketing, so I really wanted to choose an original work that would help me understand such a broad field. So whenever I thought of my idea, I originally planned on creating a marketing strategy and doing research for that. So I started off with researching different marketing templates and plans and the difference between strategy and plan, and just came up with a plethora of different ways to market a product. And so researching that really helped me to understand some of the content and some of the statistics in marketing. And then I was offered the opportunity to market a online auction promoting sex trafficking. And so that was a really unique part of my original work, because I was able to take the research that I had conducted and apply it to a real life situation. And so with that, I created content for the online auction and a marketing strategy, and then put that into place. So just to show some of my research, this is some different ways that companies are reaching out and getting the attention of their customers. Social media is right now 79%, while ebooks is going to be the lowest. And so I found that really unique, and took that into the online auction by creating a Twitter and Instagram account for the auction, and then incorporating things like print ads such as posters and business cards. So here is some of the content that I created. This is just pictures, but the first one over on the right is a infographic, and I created that just not for the auction, but for the sole purpose of raising awareness for sex trafficking. And so with that, I put some of the do's and don'ts to staying safe from sex trafficking, which I feel like is a big problem for teenagers and college students that really isn't made aware. And then in terms of the auction, as you can see in the middle, the top two are social media posts that I created. And while it seems simple to go online and make a social media post, it actually took a lot of work and research to come up with templates and ideas. And I wanted to make something unique, so just copying off the idea of someone else was not my goal. So coming up with unique and creative ideas for content was a big part of my product. And then over here is one of my posters that I created, and I took that into stores around Frisco and posted this poster that talked about sex trafficking and the online auction. And so some of the things that I researched was statistics, how that can be a big attention grabber, and colors that contrast and look well with each other. So when creating this content, I took a lot of that into play. And then at the very bottom in the center, that is a picture of the business card. And this was kind of the most creative part of my original work, and something that I came up with a unique and original idea of how to market something. And so what I did is I created those business cards, and with the poster I took them into restaurants and stores around Frisco and asked the owners if they could put the business cards into the to-go bags of the customers, so that when they got home, if they were taking out their food or their product, that they would see the card and hear about the auction. So the third thing I'm going to talk about is my mentorship. I am under the mentorship of Michelle Weatherall, and she is a marketing capabilities manager at Dr. Pepper and Snapple. So far with my mentorship, I have been able to get a first-hand experience of the marketing industry, and that's been really unique because I've been able to see how all the parts come together in creating a marketing strategy and putting that into place. So whenever I meet with Ms. Weatherall, she splits our visits into half. So that each half, for the first half, we meet with a different person on the marketing team at Dr. Pepper and Snapple. And with that, I'm able to see all different sides of marketing to see what areas I may be interested in and what areas I may not find interesting. So understanding kind of how all the different parts come together and seeing how just one little commercial or one marketing strategy comes to play and how many different people are involved in that has been really eye-opening for me. One of the most memorable mentor visits that I've had so far is one where we met with an integrated content manager named Allie Hunter for the first half, and she really showed the creative aspect of marketing and campaigns that are really unique and things that I would have never thought existed. And so just seeing the creative aspect of that and some of the fun parts of marketing has really solidified my interest in the career. So here's some pictures of my mentor and me and my mentor so far. But overall, in my experience with ISM, being in the program so far has ultimately changed me and pushed me as a student and a young professional. I have grown in so many different ways, and so when I was writing this speech and thinking back on what I put into my experience so far, the one word that I would classify my journey this far, I would say, is growth. And in that way, I mean I've grown in my self-discipline, communication skills, perseverance, technology skills, public speaking, and the list goes on. But I would say the biggest takeaway I've had so far in my ISM experience is gaining motivation. Finding a career I'm passionate about has given me a greater sense of purpose in enduring through not only the hard tasks in ISM, but my other classes, as I now have an academic goal of becoming a successful marketer, and seeing how that takes into play with my grades and my academic success in high school has really helped me to focus on making good grades and ensuring that I can get into a good college and then a good business school, and then that will ultimately create a great career in the industry. So I'm very excited for the remainder of this semester in my mentorship, as I will continue to push myself outside my comfort zone and give 110% in my final product. Thank you.